Hello everyone, welcome back to another Pokemon stream, your first Pokemon stream, whatever it is. Hello, 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 welcome on in, and happy Monday. Hello, Savage, welcome on in. Meatbaroni, good morning to you, sir. Good evening, Polly. How we doing, everybody? Wait, who this? Oh, yeah. I straightened my hair. I straightened it. This is the consequence of destroying dozens of bugs. I look fancy. The consequence of destroying bugs. I look fancy. Yes. This is what happens when I don't have time to wash my hair on time to let it air dry. I have to make decisions. And those decisions imply, do I use a hair dryer? And if I'm gonna use a hair dryer anyways, I might as well straighten my hair for once. So yeah. So that's kind of what we got over here. We got we got straight hair. It's worse for your hair, probably looks less wild and curly than usual. Yes, Boogie. So yes, there's a glitch in the matrix, and my hair is back to being straight again. Like, this used to be my hair, like, every day. Like I need y'all to understand, this used to be my hair every day. Looking like a human, confirmed. Feeling like a human. It looks good. Yeah, no, this used to be my hair, like, every single day. Like, my hair used to just be like this. I wouldn't have to do anything to it. It would just dry like this. Then I started taking birth control for literally all the medical reasons. And my hair just started growing curly again. Because I used to be curly when I was a baby. Till I was like 5 or 6 or something like that. So yeah, I lost my curls and then I gained my curls back and now we're here. You sure you're not talking curl troll? Oh no, Savage, that was bad. No, I'm sorry, no, that was bad. That was bad, dude. Control curl throw? No, that was not a good joke, sir. No. It doesn't match. Sorry. You kind of failed this one. You kind of failed this one, sir. Not feeling that one. Curl throw? Nah. Nah, no. Come up, think about it. Come up with this. You can come up with something better, okay? You got this. You got this. I'll give you a minute to think about it. Or if anyone else has a better one to one-up Savage. Not under pressure. Okay, I need to stop. I have not done this all day. Growth control. No. I mean, yes, but no. But yes, but just inhaled cat fur. Doing good. It's gotta be relevant to the curls that are gone now. And then technically that would be straight control. Because, like, it controlled my hair from being straight. Therefore, it is now curly. But, nah. I don't know. I don't know about that one. Just feels off. Feels off. It feels off. Also, my cats are kind of being really cute over there. Look, can you see them down here? Can you? Wait. Ah, there they are. Look at the babies! Is everyone's brain cell okay tonight? Yes, of course. That just sounds like gay control. Oh my god. No, but like, look at them. They're so cute. Look at the babies. They're just being adorable little kitties down there. Until they hear a noise and stop what they're doing. That is. But, everybody wants to be... Okay, Oliver just left. I start singing Aristocats and Oliver just poof's gone. Jasmine's still being all cute over here. Cutie patootie. You good, Jazz? Yeah, go up on the tree. And Jumpy she goes. No? Jumpy no go? She's getting distracted. Oliver would be like, sing my song. But his song's not appropriate for the moment. Yeah, I don't know what Jasmine is hunting, and I also don't know what I will be hunting. We are gonna let a wheel figure that one out. So I don't know if she's jumping or not. I'm just gonna go sit down. Or maybe over here. You gonna go up on the tree, dude? Go on up. Go on up so people can see your tail. Go on. You usually hang out there anyway, dude. No, not today? Today's different? Alright. Today's different. I don't know what to tell you. Oh, I think I messed it up too much. Ah! 2 chins? No, no 2 chins. Okay, we're good. We're good. We are good. Are we good, though? We are good. Did I do the thing? I did not do the thing, in fact. Also, I feel like stream crashed like 2 minutes in. Okay, now I gotta think about the opera singer dog from Doc Crew from the Doc Crew from the... Oh boy, this sentence. Now I gotta think about the opera singer dog from the Doc Crew from the movie. I got through it. I got through it. Okay, where's my screens at? Oh, dang it. Okay, I messed up! Stream crashed 3 seconds in. That explains a lot. Okay, I need to do something, and it's gonna be weird for a second, because I don't know how else to fix it. This is just the fastest way to do it. Okay, good. Remove. Hold on. Embrace the weird. Embrace the weird, because you're not gonna get anything else here. Hold on. All right, that was a lot faster than I expected. Let's go. No. But what if I say yes? Will you still say no if I say yes? Does that work? Does it? Okay, so with that said, I'm gonna put you guys on the shiny hunting screen so that we can then go and do the spin the wheel to figure out which one of 4 options we're gonna go shiny hunt. It won't let me say no again. It or I? That would have been a good one to pop in my head too, Savage, except I was going for Jonas Brothers instead. Identical message. Oh. No, but there's a limit. Boo? Oh, don't boo. They got bops. Don't even. I need to turn on the fan because I am slowly overheating. Give me a second. No limit? But there is a limit. Better. Two Fabiola? What's a Fabiola? Is that a female Fabio? Mixed with a Crayola? Loophole! Yeah, but don't spam, dude. Don't spam. Nobody likes that. Nobody enjoys the spammy spams. Unless you're talking about the food. I'm sure there's some people that like the food. Because apparently spam's food. Yeah. Anyway, let's go over to the shiny hunting screen so that we can go figure out what the hell we're gonna be shiny hunting today. 2 unlimited? Savage, I am beyond confused right now. Don't know what we're talking about anymore. Let's go shiny hunt. Bring. I do my own sound effects. There's no limit song? Oh. Yeah, don't ask me about names of songs. There's like a lot of what the... Like, if we're going into like 80s, 70s, 60s even, maybe some 50s, some 20s in there, as in the 1920s, not the 2020s. There's There's a larger likelihood that I know the song, but either don't know the name of the song or the artist or both, but still know the song. So there is that. What about that one that goes beep boop, beep boop, beep boop, boop, beep boop? Are you talking about the Crazy Frog song? Savage, get out. Get out of my brain. No, this is not happening again. No, are you serious right now? SpongeBob reference? We're too old for SpongeBob, dude. we're too, like, we went straight to Crazy Frog. That was a weird era. To say the very least. No one's too old for me, boyo. I'm literally... Yeah, I mean, beep boops, what else could it be other than Crazy Frog? I did not expect it to be like SpongeBob. I'm like very confused about like what song could be the SpongeBob one. That from what they sent out. Yeah. Cause like the Crazy Frog goes like... Oh gosh, I can't replicate the rhythm. Because it has the little distortion things and vocal cords don't do that. Ring ding ding boop. I mean literally the entire song is like that. Do 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 do. Bang bang. Something along those lines. Or no, I'm mixing that up with something else. Hold on. Am I not? No, I am. Wait. No, I'm confusing myself. Ah! Axel F. Yeah, Axel F. No, I'm right. I'm right. Holy crap. Okay, we're doing okay. I am not confusing myself. I'm confusing myself about Guys, it's Monday. We're doing so good. I've had a rough day. Actually, I had a rough weekend. I'm probably still high off the fumes of bleach and vinegar. Murder. Of bugs. Okay. I gotta go figure out what we're gonna shiny hunt. So let me not dox myself. Yes, let's go. Any stream day of the week. It's only day we're doing so good. Yeah, exactly. Doesn't matter what day it is. We're doing so good. But yeah. Although I gotta say, before I spin the wheel, I gotta make clear. Next Monday, I am taking the day off of streaming. I'll be waking up at 5 in the morning to go to Lisbon with my parents to pick up my grandma, who's coming over from Brazil and I haven't seen like 5 or 6 years. And I'm assuming there's gonna be dinner at the end of the day. So I will be taking the day off streaming so we can go and have dinner with my grandma who is like 80 and a bunch, like 80 and a bunch, who's traveling from Brazil to Portugal for the first time in like 5 or 6 years, and I haven't seen her in that long. I am so excited for her to come by. Like, you guys have no idea how excited I am to see my grandma again. So yeah. So I will be taking the day off streaming, so that if there's a dinner, I can actually attend the dinner with my grandma. And if there isn't a dinner, I can take a break and just rest for an extra day. I'll stream your episodes. Yeah, Savage, take the lead. Take the lead next Monday. Okay, now we spin the wheel. Krogunk. Okay, we tried that one already, actually. No reason, only nonsense. But my grandma is not nonsense. My grandma is great. How dare you? My grandma's freaking amazing. Do you see other 80 and a bunch year olds traveling to visit their family in a different country? Sorry, no rest, only nonsense. Oh yeah, that's like my natural state of being, so can't really count that. Now I have to figure out where my things are. Oh, this is interesting because I don't actually remember where I put everything. I am such a good streamer, I do not know where things are. Oh, there we go. That's that. Okay, found one thing. And now we gotta change that into Krogunk. Are we slow? Are we crash? Oh no, we're gonna crash. No, we're fine. Are we crashing? Oh, I heard back from the company I applied for a job, didn't get it, and it was deleted from the search site. It's possible it was left there from a while ago. Aw, that's sad, dude. Don't worry. The universe will give you a better one. Because, honestly, starting to believe in that crap. She says it's crap, but, like, for real, though. I could have lost so much food to bugs, and I didn't. Because I was like, no, we have to go buy shelves from IKEA. So yeah. Let's go online. Since a lot of companies are on holiday. Welcome to summer for you, I guess? I don't know, this is kind of where a lot of companies are like actually actively looking for people. Like here. Okay, I need to get out and get away from like birds and all that jazz so that I can actually figure out where it is that I need to go to shiny hunt. Is that a different color or is that just shadows? No, that's just shadows. I got one sneeze out, but now there's another one stuck in my nose. Yeah, this is fine. This is fine. Visiting companies that deal with tourists. Yeah, welcome. Welcome to Portugal. Especially the south, we are tourist land. I am misclicking every single button. Pokedex. Let's go find ourselves a Krogunk. It has a really good shiny. It's very visible as well, so that's really cool. Just need to find where it spawns. Because I don't actually remember, even though we did sort of kind of hunt for it a little bit. Controller's still feeling weird? Oh no, I'm just a hot mess. Best place to get shiny Krogunk is make a poison type sandwich on the biggest island in the lake. So you got used to it? I think so. I think mostly. Okay, so there's Krogunk over there. And then there's Krogunk over there. So I think we're just gonna go over there. Beep. Sounds like a plan. Also, I don't see where there's an island where Krogunk spawns. Cause like, do you have a Discord? Do I? I don't know if I do. Does it exist? Nobody knows. Then there's this area over here. I don't know, man. I think we're all just confused about this invisible existence that doesn't exist. Totally fine, perfectly normal. Okay, let's see here. This is, I'm pretty sure, where we first hunted a little bit for Krogunk and then ended up getting a Wooper. Do you think the Discord reply is too much of a joke? Maybe people don't believe it? If they don't believe it, then they're not confused enough to click things. It must be a vetting situation. People must be confused enough to understand the confusion. If people do not understand the confusion, do they deserve to join the confusion? I don't know. You just try to use logic around here? Get outside. Holds up, sarcasm sign. Do I need to make a sign? Do I? Clients are periods. Yes, they are. That statement is factual. I have a 5-star rate over here. Ooh. Okay, so this was kind of the area that we were hunting for Krogunk, but also like a bunch of Wooper and stuff spawned too. So maybe this isn't the best place? Should I check the other spot on the map? Can see if there's a sarcasm sign on BTTV, so you can add that and put that emote after Discord reply. But like, do I want to do that? Do I? Do I actually want to do that? I don't know. Where's the lighthouse? The lighthouse was over here, so let's just fly over here. There is one if you need it. But do I need it? And yes, I'm fishing for answers over here. Okay. Meatbaroni and cheese still hasn't clicked it, so... Oh my goodness. Is it possible that I am too confusing for people? Like, is that a possibility that I should be aware of? I didn't think that that was something that I needed to be aware of. I need to look at the map again because I think I'm lost. Oh, honey, we gave up on trying to understand you a long time ago. Yeah, no, Polly, like, I understand that you gave up on the moment that I told you I make meat using 2 forks instead of my hands. But, like, what about everyone else? Where's the thing at? I think I went in the wrong direction. Oh, I definitely went the wrong direction. I took the long road. Was that a kitty? No, that was a door. Okay, so the entirety of the river and down a little bit. Okay, so that's basically this entire area and then down to like here. Okay, so we'll just go up the river and figure it out. I need to see at least one Krogunk. It's gonna be fun to say. Spawn to know for sure that I'm in the right place. If it doesn't spawn, I'm in the wrong place. That is the math I am using. If you don't spawn, I can't hunt for ya. Nope, that wasn't it. Am I on the wrong side of the river, maybe? Should I be on the other side? Where am I? Who am I going and where am I doing? What am I doing? What? Oh gosh. Oh, okay. So there are Krogunk down here. All right. So let's go make a sandwich. There's also an island over there. Do we just... Wait, could this be the island? I think you are in Portugal. You know what? I'm pretty sure of that too. Could you believe it? Yeah, dude. Like, for real, for real. We agree on something. I mean... I am as much in Portugal as you are in Sokovia, so... We both know it's true. Makes sense. Exactly. I can make sense sometimes. Sometimes. Being the operative word here. Okay, so we got some Krogunks over here. And we got some Krogunks over there. And I don't really see any more poison types in this area, so this might actually be good. Makes sense? Rarely? Rarely? Who is rare? Am I rare? Are you rare? Is everyone in this chat rare? Also, what is the poison thing that I need? Forgot to look that up. I don't even know if I need to go grocery shopping. Green peppers. I could also do fighting, but like fighting also has a chance to then spawn all the flamingos. So we gotta go poison. Okay. I'm legendary 100%. How does that make sense? How can you be legendary and 100%? It's usually one or the other, dude. I think that I am in my own house. Actually, I don't think. I know that I am in my own house. Congratulations, you have reached that area. I found Krogunk locations and tried to make it as short as I could if you wanted. Oh, I found the Krogunk. I thank you, sir, but I found the Krogunk. Let's make it a party sparkler. We have found a culmination of the Krogunks. Found just north of South Province Area 5 inside a swampy biome. Yeah, that's where I was before, but then I realized that that's kind of where we also got the second shiny Wooper when that one poison sandwich we had before was active. Like months ago. And we were technically kind of seeing if we could get the Krogunk at that time. So, by that logic, being somewhere else would make more sense. This is a very, very green sandwich, I gotta say. It's green herba mystica, topped with green peppers, topped with green cucumbers and green pickles. It's really green. There you go. I added a sparkler to it. Fire it up. Those are fun. Did anyone else have these sparkler kind of things on their birthday case? Because these were really fun. They were terrifying, but they were fun. They were like little fireworks. And you could light them from the bottom up or from the top down. And if you alternated them on your cake, then like they would like do this little wave motion. It was really funny. Mostly during your, not birthdays? You got cake for birthday? Yes, of course you got cake for birthday. Either I made cake for birthday or we got cake for birthday. Why would you not have cake for your birthday? That is just sad. It is your birthday. It is your cake day. It is the day that you are allowed to have cake whatever time you want. Look at all the Krogunk. Yes. 5-year-old Tasha made cake? No, but 10-year-old Tasha did. Or, not 11. 11, fine, 11. I learned it from my grandma. And I still use her recipe to this day to make cake. It is the best recipe to make cake. Oh, there's... Okay, well, I guess I didn't fully think this through. But that's okay. I guess. Robin, thank you. Well, you can make cake. Everyone's allowed to make cake. 11? What is this, Stranger Things? You do you know that I have not watched that? At all? Like, not a single episode? I was just a poor boy. I had no... Oh my goodness, are you kidding me right now? We just started this sandwich. We got a blob! How am I gonna get to this blob? Hello, blob? Blob, come here. Guys, I found a blob. It's my second blob. It's so pretty. You're gonna get fastballed. Look at it. It's my second blob. Wait, I can make the whole family now. That's 2 gulpin. First one was like, I don't know, 2 months ago? Such a cute little blob. Okay, back to trying to find Krogunk. 11 is the girl with the powers. Yes, I know. I know who they are. I just haven't seen the show. So that is what I mean. Why am I on the beach? I should not be on the beach. That wasn't it. Okay, so this side doesn't have Krogunk. So rather than respecting the reference, you just said, I don't know the show, while you did know the character. I know the character, I don't know the show. Those are 2 different things. It's a good show, you should watch it. I don't know. There's just something about it that just, like, I don't know. 11, what is this? Stranger Things. Yes, well, what is this? Stranger Things is the part. Like, I don't know the show. Is it Stranger Things? Am I confusing you? Am I confusing myself? There are Krogonks inside those blobs. That was weird. That was a little bit weird. You said you were 11. Yes, I was 11. When I made cake, not when I had magical powers. Yes, get annoyed. It was funny, but you didn't get any of it. Or did I? And you did not get any of it. Is that not an option? Do any of you know what the other person is talking about? Asking for Okay, Polly, I see you got confused again. Which means we are doing a good job. If you were trying to do that, at least act like you knew something. No. 'Cause then you wouldn't get extremely confused. So with that, I have accomplished my mission. Barry, hello, welcome on in. How are we doing? All I got was annoyed. It's been one of those days for me too, so. I will share the annoyance with the world. Mwahaha. Like an evil mastermind. That isn't a mastermind at all. Bye. No, come back. Why should I? Well, because you clearly haven't left, so that means you can't come back either, so just stay! I'm doing not good since I know that I'll get confused AF in here. Yes! That means you are doing great, dude. You are doing fantastic. I'm assuming. I'm assuming. My blob loves me. Yes. Yes, they do. My blobs love me. Relevant. Considering we just got a shiny blob, yes, actually quite relevant. You are correct. See, I'm already confused. We just got a shiny blob. Okay, Savage, like, honestly, no, get out. Get out of my head. That's the second time today. Welcome. Welcome to Confusion, where everybody is confusing and nobody knows what the hell's going on. Just like we like it. Look, Miss Sasquatch, I don't plan these things. Do you? You have a couch inside my brain, according to you. So, by that notion, you do plan that. Because otherwise, how would I know? The second I press send, you say the thing I send. And that's whose fault? I got her 2 minutes ago and your brain tells you to say hi now. I believe that is my fault. For I did make sure that everyone got very confused. So by that logic, sorry, not sorry. I thought we were a group of confused. Of course we are a group of confused people. Otherwise, who else would be here to tolerate me? If we are not a group of confused people. How'd that work? I'm confused why it takes you 2 minutes to say hello. I said hello right away. I would like the record to show. Oh my gosh, dude. Talk about making it extra confusing. Thank you that you understand my wishes. Okay. That is great. We're all just gonna get extra confused now because every time Barry comes in, Savage is gonna say goodbye. And then everybody's gonna be thinking, ooh, Savage and Barry got beef. But then no, there's no beef. Unless there is, and you're eating it for dinner. But that's a whole other situation. Is there beef? Are you eating it for dinner? No beef, but I'm hungry. I genuinely, I am so jealous of people that actually get hungry during summer. Because, like, I don't get hungry during summer. I get snacky, which is, like, not the same thing. Like, at all. And it kind of really sucks, because all I want to do is, like, have ice cream. Or, like, cold treats. And liquids. Like, cold liquids. Can we get fish? I mean, technically, we're currently hunting for a poisonous toad, so, like, I don't know how far you want to go there. When two vegans are fighting, is it still considered beef? I think that would be even more beef, if I'm being honest with you. Just because the vegans shouldn't be fighting, so by that logic, if they are having beef, then they would immediately stop fighting because they're vegan and can't have beef. So, yeah. That. Like, two vegans can't fight because they can't have beef. Because they're vegan. So, I've logicked our way into this one. Hehe. Today at 4 p.m. I was like, should I order already? But I waited for an extra 45 minutes. You can stop saying the same joke 3 times. I can't. My brain will literally not allow it. Oh! But I am allowed to find the shiny. Well, that was a very quick shiny hunt. What Pokeball do I catch this in? She's got it. Yeah, baby, she's got it. It's a shiny. It's a Krogunk. And it's miney. I don't know. But like for real though, I do not know what Pokeball to catch this thing in. Do I just use a netball because of like it's got the similar shade of blue. It just doesn't have pink, but I think I have to abdicate the pink. Guys, what do you guys think? Do I just use the netball on this one? Like I have to settle for there not being any pink on the ball? And just take it with the blue and the black? Net is good. Dive ball? No, I feel like the dive ball is a different shade of blue. I think the blue on the net ball actually looks more similar. Net is good? Okay, then we're gonna go with the net ball. This is what we will do. Yeah, that actually does look kind of good. Yeah. No, I like the netball. I like the netball. That's a good combo. Oh, right. I'm using an Azumarill. That's a fairy type. This is gonna be interesting. Okay. I do be poisoned. Will it die if it might. Just gonna, we got like 30 something net balls. We can chuck a few. How many will it take for Krogunk to stay? Your poison running. Poison. No, why does that sound familiar though? I mean, technically Azumarill just got poisoned again, so accurate. Long confusing message about our Artello's site. I will read that in a second. Let me just catch this Krogunk. This is ball what, number 5? Nope. Okay, Azumarill might actually die. We're not risking it. No. We're gonna put this thing to sleep. I'm not gonna let Azumarill die. I need the XP. Terrible Pokemon trainer. I don't want to let it die. That's why I swapped it out. Getting owned. Well, I mean, Azumarill is a fairy type, and fairy is weak to poison, and I did definitely not think this through when I put Azumarill in first. So, there is that. She's got it. Yeah, baby, she's got it. Found the Krogunk. Found the Yay. Okay, save. Save. I need to heal a zoo as well. How much time do I have left? I have like 15 minutes left on this sandwich. Okay, let me just go back and read the message. Hold on. Did you guys know that there are some vegan people who want Apple to delete the meat emoji from their phones because they find it is offensive? So by that logic, the people that are on like a meat only diet will also have the right to have all the vegetables and fruits deleted because they could also find that offensive. They're emojis. Each emoji has multiple meanings. Why, what? Like, I don't comprehend, but sure. Exactly. How can people use the forbidden sign and then the meat emoji? I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, I think vegan people that like, and I say this like wholeheartedly, I think vegan people that want to shove their ideals down other people that aren't vegans' throats are not good vegans. And I say this with the fullest, bestest intentions. I say this because, I mean, my friend is vegan. Like, one of my best friends is vegan. And every time I'm with her, I find another Krogunk. Okay, well, we know the drill on this one. We know the drill on this one. Put it to sleep, catch it with a netball. This has been, what, 5 minutes from the other one? If that much? Sandwich is powerful. Okay, hold on. I will continue what I was saying after I catch this Krogunk. This needs full focus. I'm looking at you, Krogunk. You better stay in that ball. Full focus for, because it completes the shiny family. Because if I evolve one of the two Krogunk, then I'll be done. Exactly. Just like that. Just like that. Okay, so what I was saying essentially was, my friend is one of my best friends is vegan. Every time I am with her, like, she's not shoving veganism down my throat. Like, yes, there might be things that we don't agree on, but, like, she's not gonna, like, shove her dietary restrictions onto me, knowing that I am unable to have the same dietary restrictions as she does. So, like, why would people do that? Also, stream crash. Again? No, not again. Come on. Dang it, it did, didn't it? Did it? Did it though? Big blip? I don't think the timer resets, so I think we're okay. I have like 10 more minutes on the sandwich as well, so that's okay too. Timer seems to go. Yeah, timer seems still at an hour, so I think we're doing okay. I think we're doing okay. Okay, let me just read back something here. Hold on. They need to use it as example. You can be whatever you want as long as you don't try to force your beliefs on others. Exactly. You guys are really lucky that you're German. There's a vegan person who has made more people quit being vegan than make people vegan. Guys, anyone in chat from Germany? Is anyone in chat German? I don't remember we have a German in chat. Savage is Belgian. I'm Dutch. Poli is from Sokovia. Nope, nobody German. There are vegan people who do it for health, and there are self-righteous idiots who think they are better than everyone and only they know how the world... Oh yeah, honey, I know. Focus, you confused, terrible, and not shiny deserving Pokemon player. Aww. That's mean, Barry. You're lucky that you're not German. Oh, okay, there you go. I was like, no, nobody's German in chat. No, Barry, I mean, considering we've adopted you into the state of confusion, you are no longer German. You are now confusion. That is your whole personality right now. You are now confusion. No longer German, just confusion. Okay, I have like 10 minutes on the sandwich left, and like, I don't really know where to go or what to do. I mean, we could technically just go into the cave in Alfornada, because like, there's poison types in there. Is that the song all people use? Are you talking to me or are you talking to Barry? That makes more sense, because I was like, I don't think I sang. So I got a little bit confused. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Secret tunnel, secret tunnel, secret tunnel. We are in the secret tunnel. Oh, right! Salandits and Salazzles are also poison. I almost forgot about that. Lasercraft 3D? What kind of equipment is that? That sounds like equipment. No matter how you spell it. Lasercraft 3D. Buy it now at your nearest printing store. Really popular in 2010. Oh, okay. Hold up. I'm switching gears right now. Has anyone watched Nimona on Netflix? 1 hour down, 23 to go. Arcane! Hell no! Just that thumbnails are terrible, so I don't want to watch or hear it. Okay, but like, speaking of songs for like the 2010s, dude, did anyone watch Nimona? I need to know this answer to continue speaking. No, Nimona with an I. It's a movie and it's on Netflix, and don't look at the trailer. Just watch the movie. But in the movie, there is a song that I haven't heard in like 10 years. And I was just like, wait, there's a resurgence of this song? Because it's actually really good. Tasha, if we put all our channel points together, would you do a 12-hour stream at least? What would be the special occasion for that to be a thing that I would have to do? It's really interesting. It's no sound or video. Wait, what's no sound of video? Only thing I've been watching on Netflix has been sleep. Nah? Arcane, could you elaborate on this? Because that's a little bit... Like, do you fall asleep watching Netflix? Or there's something on Netflix called Sleep? I mean, I'm still waiting for Pokemon Sleep to come out, but like... I think that's supposed to come out this month. There's something on... Okay, but like, what does it do? Are you just supposed to like fall asleep to it or something? Are you supposed to watch it to fall asleep? The sequel comes out next year called Deeps. Are you trolling? This feels like a trolling situation. Are you, Arcane? Because at this point, Netflix comes out with so much stuff that I don't even know what to believe anymore. Why would Arcane trollers? Well, they keep screaming 24-hour streams, so... Why would they not be? Is the better question. That's all I'm saying. Tasha's brain is like not responding. Would you like to close program? Yeah. That is kind of my brain, isn't it? Anyway, what about Natasha now? What about Natasha? Whoa! Okay, brain. Yeah, no. Arcane is 100% correct. Shutting down. Error 404, brain not found. Holy crap. Yeah, doing so good, doing so good. Anyway, Nimona. So, okay, so the movie is surprisingly good. Don't watch the trailer, just go in and watch the movie, basically. It's on Netflix. It is really good, actually. Like, surprisingly good. Like, honestly surprised. The animation is a bit weird, in my opinion. Like, can't quite pinpoint what kind of animation it is. But the entire premises of the show and, like, the story is actually really good. And, to my surprise, they put this song up by Metric, and I was just like, wait, I know this song. I haven't heard this song in forever. Why do I know this song? And then I realized it's the song from Metric that I used to listen. Yeah, Metric! Dude, Metric! I will scream! Who is not almost 30 or over 30 and doesn't know Metric? That is the bigger question. That is the big... I was surprised. I haven't heard of them in like forever, and then suddenly like they pop in on this movie and I was just like, well, this entire movie is a definite surprise. Honestly, still a bop. But yeah, I was 100% surprised, did not expect that, and here we are. And like that song came out like 13 years ago, so 2010! Bringing it back. Yes, yes they are. I got like 1 minute left. Am I gonna do anything in this minute? I don't know, maybe. So I opened news channel to see what's new, and top news is one of the wealthiest people in Croatia is marrying his daughter. That would not be weird that the man is 104 years old and his daughter is 70 years old. So the age gap is the weirdest part for you, Polly? Not the part where they're marrying their own daughter? Well, you just said that would not be weird that that man is 104 years old and his daughter is 70 years old. So the weird part for you is that the wealthiest man in Croatia is a lot older than the person that they're marrying, instead of the fact that the person that they're marrying is their own daughter? Did I read it incorrectly? Or did you type it incorrectly? Now I am confused. Why would he marry one of the wealthiest people in Croatia is marrying his daughter. That's what you wrote. You literally wrote that the wealthiest person in Croatia is marrying their own daughter. And now you're asking me why they're marrying their own daughter? How am I supposed to know? You're the one that typed it. Are we all collectively confused now? He's marrying his own daughter. That is the correct, and mine is not working on normal channels. What do you mean? Why would he be marrying his own daughter? Like that's not allowed by law. I don't care how much money you have. You can't marry your own daughter. You need to learn English, sir? I know English. Do you? Yes, I do. Prove it, or am I not speaking English right now? Top news is one of the wealthiest people in Croatia is marrying his daughter. That would not be weird. It is weird! It's incest! Why would you marry your own daughter? I'm not sure what you are speaking, but you are not understanding. Then explain, Polly. Use more words. Also, I need to... The sandwich is over. I need to go figure out what we're gonna shiny hunt next. Sir, if I'm not understanding, then you have to make me understand. Use words. Like a lot of words. Like so many words. But your vocabulary was not correct. It makes it sound like you think it's not weird that they are marrying their own daughter. It is weird! Like, you created that human. You were part in the creation. You took part in the creation of that human. You raised that human. Why would you marry it? Why is it weird for a man to be marrying his daughter to another? Then you gotta say to another man! Otherwise it sounds like incest, sir! Bully! Polly! Jeez, dude! You gotta say that the man is marrying his daughter to another man. Otherwise, it's incest. Because that's the first thing it comes to normal people's mind. If you say a man is... You said it like that. You can't just say that a father is marrying their daughter. We didn't read the... Exactly, we didn't read the article, Savage. If you say a father is marrying their daughter, it sounds like they are to be wed together. Not that the father is giving away their daughter to be wed to another man. Every time I start a story now, I will say no incest. Just use words. Words, dude. Jeez. Holy macaroni, dude. Okay. We need to go figure out what we're gonna shiny hunt next, because we already got the entire Krogong family set, so. Yeah, Polly, that was a weird conversation, for sure. So basically what you're saying is that the wealthiest man in Croatia got ordained and is marrying his daughter to another man. Is performing the wedding ceremony. Good Lord. Justin, hello, thank you for following. Hi. You've come in a very weird time. Like, you're not using big words. I know big words. I had forced. Yes, you did have sausage, dude. Mm-hmm. Yes. You did have wurst. Can't. Oh, Justin, welcome to Confusion. I hope you stick around. I am Sausage Man after all. Nah, I'm gonna butcher it too much if I do the Rocket Man song, but with sausage. Yeah, let's go figure out what we're gonna shiny hunt next. I got the wheel up. Let's go. Oh, this entire conversation makes no sense. Bombardier, let's go. Sausage Man. Bring in the sausages. Sandus, hello, welcome on in. Let's go. Bombardier. This is gonna be an interesting one. Go away. Now we know where they spawn, so we could just fly back there. Let's go. I mean, considering how hot it is, goo is an option. Goo is an actual... Oh my gosh, that's so cute with the sunglasses. That water turtle is adorable. We know where the bombardier spawn. Actually, I should probably heal up. Cause like, Zumaro is still poisoned. Okay, so what typing is bombardier? It's flying dark, right? Do I have ingredients? Flying is prosciutto. I know we don't have prosciutto. And dark is smoked fillet. That sounds fancy. Guys, what do we do? Do we do prosciutto or do we do smoked fillet? What do you mean look down? Plenty. I mean, yes, there is plenty of prosciutto if I look down, but I'm talking about in-game. I can't put my legs in the sandwich in-game. I don't think we live in that kind of reality. Yet. Okay, so I know bombardier spawn here. Yeah, that rhymes. Trying to be hella confused. Okay, to explain to the new people in chat, my legs are prosciutto. And now everything else should make sense. Do not be confused. The legs are prosciutto. Okay, so this is where there was a bombardier outbreak one time. So I'm off on a limb and assuming that they spawn here, although I'm not seeing any spawn here, which is not cool. Have you ever seen prosciutto sweat? That's my legs. That's my legs. Do I have to look up where bombardier spawn? I'm pretty sure we had an outbreak here once upon a time. Before I finish the storyline. Is bombardier one of those Pokemon that only spawn during certain hours of the day? No, right? I know there's usually one static over here. Those are horses. We must find the bombardier before we make the sandwich. I could have sworn they spawned over here, though. Oh, dang. What do you call a guy lying to your doorstep? Lying on your doorstep. What the hell am I reading? What do you call a guy lying on your doorstep? Matt. Yes. I butchered that joke and made it dry. And I apologize. That could have been better. If I had not been utterly confused and fully butchered it. You know you had a good night out when you find yourself lying on a doorstep. I would honestly, I don't know. A good night out? I would be like, I don't know about that one, man. Would that truly be considered a good night out if you can't remember it? We're doing so well today. Yeah. I had to touch it. Yeah. Yeah, you did, didn't ya? Yeah, didn't ya? Think I've said that too many times today anyway. Okay, so those are burbs. There's a bombardier here. There's multiple ones here. Okay, so maybe this is the place to hunt for the bombardier. Because I see multiples. Today, it's every day. I mean, if you have to deal with customer service, that explains why it's every day. Okay? Like a week, like 10 days ago. Let me the Disney Channel flow. Let me explain something here. 10 days ago, a client was complaining that this thing wasn't working. Now we had a prediction that it would still be a little bit iffy for the next 3 weeks. This was 10 days ago. Today, I got an email from the same client saying like, hey, what's taking so long? Why is this not working yet? And I was just like, bro, it's been 10 days. Chill out. We told you 3 weeks. What are you on about? And he also said some other stuff in the email that I will not elaborate on. But I have pulled every trick up my sleeve to not call him a dumbass. So I don't like this place to hunt. That's a problem. It asked them if they were on another weak system. I wish I could, but this was all via email. So I had to pull out everything in my power to not Now I imagine a coworker holding you back from your keyboard trying to type out something. Oh, dude, like there's non-physical ways to do that, and it definitely happens. If I feel like I'm really annoyed at a certain email, I will literally type the email, and then I will actually read the email to my colleague and be like, am I being too much? And either they will help me rework the email into a way that doesn't essentially insult another's intelligence, or they'll be like, okay, take like 5 minutes and try again. So yeah, but sometimes I do have to muster. What way does your email conversation usually go? Are you usually too blunt? So I kind of type a lot the way I speak. And sometimes I can be a bit brute in my emails. Especially if I put thought behind them. Like if I actually think through the sentences, it kind of becomes a little bit extra. So I usually do have someone to like just pass the emails through and just make sure that I'm not basically insulting anyone. 'Cause, you know, clients are dumb no matter how you think of it. So you're on good support. Yes, yes, yes. I am on dumb client support. Exactly. It involves words. Because, you know, sometimes it's to a point where simply changing the order of a sentence makes it softer than what it was before. Miss Bluntmouth is on service, just helping people. Yeah. Now, anyone that isn't Dutch will probably not understand it, but I have been called a pittige tante multiple times. And if you are Dutch, you definitely know what that means. So, that's me. That is me. Your spicy aunt. Looking for a bombardier. Actually, I did not change the sprite. I should probably do that. Ooh, this is very bad resolution. No, it's fine, I guess. In US, that probably means you're on OnlyFans? A spicy aunt. Oh my god, that just dropped. Yeah, nope. I had not. Nope. That connection did not connect, dude. It didn't. It really didn't. Until just now. Okay, so I think we need to go back to the place where we were before, because I don't think the bombardiers spawn here. Gosh, spicy aunt on OnlyFans. That would be very spicy. Don't know if anyone wants to see that though. I mean, I'm sure there's a public some way, somehow, somewhere, but do I want to know those people? Dang it, Savage! I just had a sip! There. Okay, so right now I'm with the decision because I know there was a bombardier outbreak here at one point. The question now is, if I make a flying or a dark sandwich... Oh, there's a bombardier here. Okay, so we are actually in the correct place. We are actually okay. Just need to make sure. Do I actually not have prosciutto at all? Wait, I do prosciutto! I have so much prosciutto. Let's set up a picnic. Or fight this bombardier. That's an option. Bombat here. Bombat. Bat here. Bombat. Bomb. Bad. Here. Bomb bird here? Bomb bird here. But what do they bomb with? Babies? They just drop the babies? That sounds highly unsafe. Yeah, my brain just crashed. Pay no mind to me. Bomb bird here. Yes, here, as in here because the bird is here. But like, how do they bomb? Oh my god. I'm just gonna curl up in the ball and do nothing else. If I had a hoodie, I would put the hoodie over my head now, but I don't have a hoodie, so I can't really do that. Is that good? Was that a good laugh? Laugh. Perfect. Thank you. And Polly's back with the WTF. No. Oh, that's not my pity laugh. That's my fake laugh. That's my fake dramatic laugh. I truly hope people don't know the difference between my actual laugh and my pity laugh because I trained that so much. Like, honestly. You know how many times clients say dumb jokes? That I just go like, not like that, of course. So as to not make them feel bad. I mean, a client did come in today telling me that I was really soft-spoken and I reminded them of their granddaughter because I also wear glasses and my hair is also brown. And I was just like, sure. I do wear glasses and my hair is indeed brown. Soft-spoken though? And like, I have to think a lot to sound soft-spoken. And it usually only happens in the morning when I'm still half asleep. Nobody else has brown hair and glasses. Exactly. It's true not many people in world wear glasses. You are kind of one of a few. Then it's my entire family, dude. My family, the entirety of my family is like one of a kind then. Because like, both my grandparents wear glasses, or my granddad used to wear glasses. My grandma wears glasses. My other grandma wears glasses. Both my parents wear glasses. My sister wears glasses. I wear glasses. I'm pretty sure my cousins need glasses as well, but they just don't admit it. It's a rarity, dude. It's a rarity. I have brown hair and glasses. Do I remind them of their daughter as well? Also, here's the kicker. Their granddaughter is 11. Like, bitch, I'm gonna be 30 next year. I remind you of your 11-year-old granddaughter? And I'm soft-spoken? Soft-spoken. I mean, I can be. It has to be morning. You guys are never gonna see that because I don't stream during the morning because I'm asleep or at work. Okay, so this is turned into a rufflet shiny hunt. Well, this is bound to be interesting. Because there's a whole lot of rufflets. Should I have made a dark sandwich instead? Am I regretting my decisions? Is that possible? Must be the... I just read that. Must be the... I mean, I know I'm small, but... She said, do these prosciutto look like they are 11? I mean, I was behind a counter. And also wearing jeans, full length. So... I don't think I would be able to say that. Also, as like just a regular human being kind of standpoint. Is also something to consider, you know? This shiny hunt is gonna be a lot weirder than I thought it would be. We got rufflets, we got swablues, and we got bombardiers. Any guesses on what it is that we're gonna get first? That sentence mean? I don't know what that last sentence meant. I don't even remember what I just said. Can you repeat back to me what I just said? Also, it's just like a regular human being. Kind of. Listen, y'all should know by now that I don't know what I say and what I mean unless I know what I say and what I mean. And if I don't remember what I said, then I also don't know what it means. Sometimes words just happen, okay? Why do I even try to... I mean, Polly, if you are here, do you really need alcohol? Because, like, I can make you feel drunk without you having a drink. I think that's a pretty good deal. True, and my head hurts even more. Apparently, I give you a hangover as well. That's great. That's not the fun part. Tasha being totally serious. Oh, I don't think you've ever seen me serious. Keyword being seen. With eyes. Not through text. You actually make people feel drunk. Okay, now could you imagine if I ever got drunk? Like, how would that work? Like, on the one hand, I'm curious. On the other hand, alcohol is disgusting and I don't want to ingest it, so... that's something we're not gonna find out, like, ever. You would be a person who talks too much when drunk. You know, during work, talking to clients... and during stream is usually the parts where I actually speak the most. To the point that literally my voice had to get used to how much I was talking when I started streaming. Still not used to it, actually. It still hurts sometimes. I do wonder what drunk Tasha would be, because everyone is different drunk. I don't know. I don't also necessarily want to find out. And I probably also will not find out. Like, ever. Because alcohol is absolutely disgusting. This was never tested? No, this was never tested. An attempt was made, and they failed tremendously. So yeah. This is your drunk state of your brain trying to process so many information, chat, game, internet in general, while talking and trying to think about everything. Who says I'm thinking? Who says I'm thinking, dude? An attempt was made? What did I try to do here? They tried to have me drink caipirinha. And they were so annoying that I actually ended up taking a sip. And I was just like, absolutely not. This is disgusting. And I never want to have anything like this or similar or just alcohol in any way, shape, or form. So it 100% backfired on him. Or on them, I should say. But there was one dude that was like the main convincer. 100% backfired. So, oh crap, they despawn if they fly into the Pokemon Center? Well, that's not fun. So, it took one sip. No, actually, I had 3 in total. I tried 1 sip of beer, gross. 1 sip of caipirinha, also gross. And then also wine, 1 sip, also gross. I'm also not exactly a fan of grape juice, so that probably also didn't help. But just, yeah, no. I am your designated driver friend, basically. Having a friend who don't drink and can drive is such a bad thing for them. Yeah, I am your designated driver friend. So yeah. Make you try those things. Well, just as y'all are curious of like how would I be if I were drunk, so were they. Except that it splendidly backfired, and I never want to have anything with alcohol in my life ever again because it is disgusting and it burns. So yeah. Disgusting and burns are usually not good things. There are way more entry-level fruity things to make you try. I mean, caipirinha, like, how do I say this without it sounding weird? A Coca-Cola caipirinha is pretty decent. If you replace the alcohol with Coca-Cola, that's pretty good. It's Coke, but it's also lemony. Not the biggest fan of like lemony Coke, but you know, it's not bad if you remove the alcohol entirely. Paso orange juice barely tastes alcohol, it's just fruity, or in Dutch. Okay, let's put it this way. You want to know what my barrier is? What my threshold is? You know those chocolates that have alcohol in them? That have like an alcoholic like paste inside of the chocolate? Yeah, those are bad and they burn. There's alcohol, you feel less than those. But it burns. You can't convince me. It burns. Okay? It don't matter how it tastes if it burns. There is so many drinks. There is sweet and fruity, you can taste nothing but sweet. But 2 glasses of that F you up. perfectly fine not ever drinking alcohol in my life. So I'm good with that. Also, you don't need to drink alcohol to be able to have fun with people that are drinking alcohol. That's the main lesson I've learned from all of this. Especially if you're as scatterbrained as me. There's alcoholic drinks you can be given and you wouldn't even know. I think that is a very scary thing, if I'm being honest. Especially for someone like me that just doesn't drink. I don't know, I feel like you would be able to tell one way or another. If you don't ever drink, I feel like you should be able to tell if there's even the tiniest bit of alcohol in a drink. Because, first of all, alcohol definitely changes the taste of a drink. And secondly, I forgot I had that as a notification. Morgan's Wade, welcome on in. Thank you for the raid. Big Fish Berry, yo, hello. I can't, I forgot about my notification. Aaron, hello, welcome on in. How are we doing? Good evening, everyone. Holy crap, my heart is beating so fast right now. I forgot about my raid notification. I get scared every time. I do this to myself. Welcome on in, Raiders. How we doing? I am Tiny Tasha. We are Confusion, and I have a cat who just jumped on my desk. Hello, Oliver. Okay. Yes, sir? What's up? It's okay. I'm okay, Bubba. I'm okay, Bubba. I know I got scared by my own notification. Don't worry. He likes to check up on me. How is stream going so far? We are on 3 shinies, and we just started shiny hunting for Bombardier, and I am very confused because I don't understand the way these things spawn. Hey, Oliver, don't eat my cable! We're doing good today, guys. We're doing good. Sir, no, don't stare at the cable. You're gonna need it. You're just casually talking about alcohol, suddenly raid group joined. Yeah. More specifically about how I don't drink alcohol, to be specific. Oliver, could you just not? Cats are crazy. Yeah, Oliver has pica too, so that's not very helpful. Okay, hold on. No, don't you even dare. Okay, sir. Sir, you are staring too much at that cable. You are not allowed to eat it. Need to piddle? I'll be right back. Okay, Morgan, thank you so much again for being here, though. Sir, right? No. If you are going to the cable, I am going to have to punish you. Okay, I love you. Bye. Go down. He licked my nose. But mommy, I'm hungry. No, they are well fed, okay? They are well fed. They just had dinner. They are not hungry. It's just Oliver has pica, and that's not very helpful. He's just jumped up the desk again. And now he's laying on the desk. Okay, sir, as long as you don't eat the cable... He's licking my fingers. Okay, sir, that is fine. You are okay, sir. Just don't eat my cable. He's on, like, can I show the desk? I don't know if I could show the desk. There you go. Can you see him? Look at him. Little crazy little dude. My head out, have fun in your shiny bird head. Thank you, dude. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for stopping by. Have a good day. Yes. Or night. I don't know what time it is for you, but yeah. Thank you. Sir, no. I will have to remove you from the premises if you do this. How much time do I have left? 17 minutes. Okay, we're doing okay. We're good. We're doing okay on time. We're doing okay on time. I'll be honest. I lost my train of thought. I don't know what we were talking about anymore. Always fun. Always good. Alcohol. How could I possibly forget? For no one shall convince me. No one. Alcohol is disgusting, it burns, and I shall not consume it ever. That is the gist of it. That is the gist of it. Also, how did we touch upon the topic of alcohol? That's what I said to myself the whole day yesterday. Yeah, but you actually enjoy it, Polly. My bad. I hope the bird hunt is going well. Yeah, no, the bird hunt is going something. Not 100% if well is the right word, because I think I should have made a dark sandwich, but I made a flying one because we had prosciutto. But it's doing something. At this moment, I'm just taking bets. Like, what am I getting first? The bombardier, the rufflet, or the swabloos? Because they're all kind of spawning equally at this point. Playme will just have to come to Portugal and have a taste testing. I mean, I've heard the wine here is pretty good. So, sure. Go on. Came in the break, but the internet lagged. Hope the hunt is going well. Squad! That sounds like a parrot. I sound like a parrot when I say that way. Okay. Hello, welcome on in. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for joining in the raid and stuff. Hi! Playme will bring alcohol, you don't? No, I'm terrified. Please don't. I mean Norway. I'm not going from one hell temperature to country. And the temperatures are... Dude. No. Listen. The temperatures are supposed to rise within the next couple of days with like 5 degrees. And I was so happy that the temperatures had dropped by like 5 degrees. But now they're going to rise again and I'm so sad. Not cool. Not cool. I need like snow. I need snow like right now. I need to get some post-stream food. I hope stream goes well. Sorry to have to raid everyone. Oh, no worries, dude. Thank you so much for the raid and just being here in general and existing. I hope your stream went really well. And go do your post-stream stuff. Get yourself some foodies. And bon appetit. Hope to see you around. It's gonna be 31 here again tomorrow. Oh, that's nothing. It's been 35 here the entire week, and that's the temperature dropping. Today 37, tomorrow 39, and Wednesday until Monday 40. Yeah, so we got like 36 today. Tomorrow it's, I think, gonna be like 38 or 39, and then it's just gonna stay around 39s, 40s for the next couple of days. Which I'm not looking forward to. I usually go by scoop, but I'm good. Okay, I have to ask for my own sanity, Scoop. Are you in Portugal or Portuguese by any chance? This might sound like a weird question, but depending on your answer, I'll explain why. Yeah, Morgan, thanks for bringing the peeps over, and welcome everyone to Confusion. This is what we do here. Literally, we get confused. but school? Oh, that's so weird. Are you not by chance Portuguese or Portuguese adjacent? Raid comes in, Tasha panic. Raid comes in, the first thing I do is scream because of the notification, dude. That's bad. No, I'm Danish, American, British. Okay. I'm gonna tell you this, and you're either gonna laugh or you're gonna cry. I don't know what's gonna be, but we'll see what happens. school here in Portugal is what people call when they go skiing and fall flat on their butts and keep going down, sliding on their butts. That's what we call school. Which I don't know if that's a positive thing for you to be or a negative thing for you to be. It depends on your point of view, but it feels very weird to keep saying that. Considering that's like kind of, yeah, so school squad would mean basically the squad of people that go skiing and fall flat on their butts and keep skiing with their butts. Essentially. And it's spelled SCU, which is the funniest part. So there is that, because Portugal has so many famous ski tracks. No, there aren't, but Portuguese people do like to go on holiday to go ski. And sometimes school. So there is that. And yes, we are known for the beaches, but I mean, Sierra Nevada is like right next to it. Yeah, it's short Squirtle Squad, but I pronounce it like that, so it's stuck. Well, Squirtle Squad. I can't call you Squirtle, but yeah, Squip. That would be Squip. By that logic. I don't know. Portugal ripping on people about things Portugal can't even do. Okay, think about it the other way around. Maybe it's because Portugal doesn't have a lot of skiing places that when Portuguese people go skiing, they actually just fall on their bums. And that's where the term came from. Because a lot of people were just skooing instead of skiing. Think of it that way. Look at her digging herself out of this hole. I'm sorry, I'm very comfortable over here. I'm laughing at this. So yeah, bad skiing and falling on your bums is basically what skoo is. Stay in the hole then. I will, thank you very much. I dug it myself. I just need to go get some chairs or something to make myself comfortable in here. Yeah, can't say I've not done it. Well, now you know. It's a school. As you can see, every conversation around here makes perfect sense. Don't get sassy with me. Getting sassy with it. Da na 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 na. Na 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 na. Getting sassy with it. Da 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 da. I tried. I failed. I know I failed. I tried. No, that has a red beak. This shiny hunt is either gonna be another cloft or it's gonna be something else. Trust, I'm used to wear combos. Then you will be right. I don't know how to finish the sentence. You will be comfortable here. I quit on that sentence. I made a new one. You will be comfortable in confusion. So welcome. I should probably didn't get it. I didn't get what? Weird conversations. Conversations that are weird. Can you see the emote names? Oh, the emotes! Tiny face. And a palm tree. Hold on. Tiny face, palm. Oh! It's a face palm! Yeah, I didn't track. that just whoof, right over. Didn't make it. Crashed and burned. Didn't even manage to crash land there. It just burned. Damn, dude. I almost choked. Hey, that is not my fault. Wait, is this the shiny? Come to me. Yes! We are on fire today. A girl named Grace. Hello, welcome on in. I got a shiny Bombardier. Wait, Grace, did you bring the luck? Okay, so it's got a smidge of red still, but it's mostly just white and gray. I mean, I feel like we gotta use the timer ball, right? We gotta use the timer ball on this one. Yes. We all are using the timer ball. Yes, Grace? I need to have some water. Timer or premiere? Yeah, I think we're gonna go with timer. Because the premiere only has like white and red, and like red is like the least color on this, and at least the timer ball has a little bit of black there as well, so I feel like that matches a little bit more. One sandwich, one bombardier. We're doing so good. Our first sandwich gave us 3 shinies, and now our second sandwich, we're at 1. When you play through a game, do you care about natures? No. Not at all. When I play through a game, I don't care about natures, I don't care about IVs. So, yeah. It's the first Pokemon of that Pokemon that I catch is the one that ends up in my party. And I know that's not optimized, but I don't care. I don't care. Because it takes me 200 hours to finish a game anyways. Because I'm just that slow. Totally fine way to play. Yeah. And now I've been doing it for years. Do I just put this thing to sleep? Maybe I should just put this thing to sleep. Did you see the Deadpool set filming teaser? I saw pictures. Is there video? Okay. Battle? Yawn? I'm a crazy person because I Nuzlocke. Yeah, I've pondered on doing one of those, but I think I would just end up crying. Please tell me more than 2. 2. I'm off for today. See you around, dudes. Have a good night. Bye, Polly! Thanks for being here and getting confused with us. Also, you witnessed shinies today. That's a new one. Scoo! Thanks for the follow. We got the Bombardier! That means there's only 2 Pokemon left on my shiny hunting wheel. And then I have to figure out what I'm gonna do after until the DLCs come out. Saving twice. But yeah, good night, Polly. Have a good one, dude. Sleep well. Hope we didn't break your brain too much today. We got the Bombardier. I'm so happy. Miss chat. Oh, I'm sorry. Go back. Can't bring myself to use a rubbish nature. That's totally fine. Way to play. The Wolverine picture. The Wolverine picture. I saw something about how they're gonna make the Wolverine costume the comic book one. That's about it. Are there any more flying types that I would want to hunt? I could just fly this way. Check DMs now. Should I be scared? Oh no way! That looks amazing! What the actual hell? this real? Like, is this real? Like, actual real? This is not like fan-made Photoshop kind of thing real? Because that looks amazing. Posted by Ryan. I need to send this to Bruno, like, ASAP. How do I send this to Bruno? I need to... I mean, Bruno's asleep. He can see it in the morning. I'll send it after stream. Dude, that looks fantastic. What the hell? I'm shocked. That actually looks legit amazing. Find any new types of rocks lately? No, Grace, actually. Not really. Just bugs. Not so much rocks, just bugs. Come on, Savage. Come on, Savage. Although I have to say, Instagram has been really weird lately. Like, it doesn't show me... It's been showing me a lot of recommended posts, but barely any posts of, like, people that I actually follow. Which I think is just a bit, I don't know, a bit something. How much time do I have left on the sandwich? 3 minutes. Okay, well, we can do something. But yeah, I don't know. I'm serious. I know. I'm surprised that you think that I don't know. That's my shock. And why didn't you see the picture? That's what I'm saying. Like, freaking Instagram's been acting up. It's been showing me so many recommended posts, like suggested posts, but then it's not showing me posts from like people that I actually follow. Or like tags that I actually follow. Which is just really stupid because like I've been having to just basically follow like stories and like try and figure out, okay, who's posted what where and where can I see this post and have these people posted it or not, and it's just been really annoying and I don't know how to fix it. It's like the algorithm is completely like messed up or something. But then it's not because like, it's my feed. Did you hear about Threads? I have heard that it's Twitter, but kinder. Which, to be fair, I honestly still don't care about because I don't really use Twitter at all. But yeah, you know. Twitter from Instagram. Sure. I guess. Still Twitter. Kind of place. Right? I don't know. I don't have Twitter. I don't use Twitter. I've never had Twitter. I've never used Twitter. I don't know how Twitter works. So... sometimes I am a grandma. Twitter's been dive bombing crazy since Stress been out. I can only imagine. After all I've seen on the news, why would they not leave? Twitter has... and Twitter's been going for like, what, 10 years? That is quite a difference. To be honest, I have it, but yeah, not really social media person. Yeah, I have Instagram to post Pokemon Go AR photos. And I have a Facebook that I made like, I don't know, 15 years ago that I just don't use. And I now have Discord since December. And that's about it. But AR photos are fun. Yes, they are. I really do enjoy making them. Although I have been resorting to editing because Pokemon Go has not really been great at like updating their AR functionality. Like they gave us like buddies, like I don't know, a year and a half ago or so. And that brought a few extra animations, but like nothing like mind-blowing. So, I don't know. I've been trying to keep it to like pure AR. But at the same time, there's just a lot more you can do by editing the Pokemon into the pictures. Which sucks, because I genuinely prefer pure AR to editing. So I also try to make sure my editing style looks like pure AR to a certain degree. But sometimes it's just not possible. Check Elon Musk taking over Twitter to make Zuckerberg be cool again with threads. You go from one crazy to another crazy. I think that's just how it works. Crazy billionaire to crazy billionaire. They're just using it as a cash cow now. Yeah, generally go out and do it. Yeah. I try to. I'm currently still, I think I have, because I've been posting 3 times a week. Either an AR photo or an edit. I think my sandwich ended. Yeah, it did. I've been posting 3 times a week, either an AR photo or an edit. But I only have like a few more weeks left of pictures like in the pipeline. And I have like 6 more pictures that I would like to edit. I just don't have the energy or time to do so, which is what it is. But I do need to go out one of these days and just go snap a bunch of pictures. Just haven't really had the time or energy to do so, which is not really fun. Zuckerberg already knows everything anyway. Just one less person to give your data to now. You surprised at this point? Yeah. I have some nice locations near me. I don't. I've exhausted most of them over the past... When did I start Instagram? 3 years ago? 4 years ago? I don't actually know. I don't actually remember when I started it. Is there a way to see that? Got recommended an article about Rome the other day. Rome! I've been seeing a lot of Rome lately because of the Mission Impossible movie. I'm so excited to go watch that thing. It comes out this week. Oh, let me click it. Had unearthed during works in Rome Piazza. Oh! Oh, that is cool. I'll have to read that thoroughly later. Freaking love history, man. The older, the better. To a certain degree. Probably says somewhere. Yeah, I would need to figure it out. I think it's been like... Because, like, COVID kind of messed that up. So... I actually don't know if it's been 3 years or 4 years or 5 years at this point. I can't really scroll back 700 pictures. I don't think that's feasible. So yeah. I was like, I want to tell Tasha. Thank you! I get so excited about history sometimes. Like, especially like when they make new discoveries from like centuries ago. I'm just like, oh, yes, feed me history. And Bruno knows this as well. That's why he just let me watch like the freaking like Egypt documentary that came out on Netflix the other day. And I was so hyped. Like, they discovered an entire papyrus, and I was hyped, dude. Like, I was hyped. They discovered like a 9-meter long papyrus with the Book of the Death. And I was just like, yes. Freaking love Egypt as well. I need to go there. I need to go there as well. Building history is my gig. As in architecture, or as in you are building things for history? Yes, an entire scroll, dude. QWERTY's kind of fire today? Is it? Do I have the email yet? That's a bigger question. I do have the email. Architecture, yes. Architecture is great, dude. Okay, that's cute. Well, that's cute too. Seagulls. Yeah, okay, QWERTY is fine today. It's your job. About to be best friends. Scoot, we're about to be best friends. Tell me everything. But like architecture as in like you're building things, or architecture as in like the archaeology department of architecture? Because like there's sides. I do not know what I'm doing right now with my life. Oh, I haven't checked the auction today. Maybe I should do that. Sounds like a good plan. You designed... Okay, so you're like recent, like modern history architect, not ancient history architect. Okay, that's fine. I can accept that too. I can accept that too. But yes, are you Ted Mosby? Because, sounds an awful lot like you're Ted Mosby. But I like looking into ancient architecture. Yes. There is nothing great about here. Okay. It's like the only parts of history that I like are really like the art, the culture, and the architecture part. I mean, technically war is part of culture. And like, from war, the artifacts do pop up. But, not really that part of history. I had art history in like 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. Or 10th and 11th grade, actually. Not 12th. So... it was nice. It was literally one of my favorite classes. Teacher was amazing. Like the limestone head of the Arcadian. I've been told Ted Mosby. We have a Ted Mosby in chat. I honestly should consider ending stream and just going to sleep. But also, I don't know what I'm doing. I feel kind of lost in game right now. Because we only have 2 shiny hunts left on the wheel. And I want to savor them. The only 2 shiny hunts that we have left on the wheel are the 2 forms of Tatsugiri that I haven't found yet. Which is gonna be an interesting hunt, because those are the 2 forms. Actually, one of the 2 forms is pretty easy to spot, but the other one's like extra hard. And Earthworm. And that's all the shiny hunts that I had predetermined myself to hunt in the wild. And then after that, I don't entirely know what to do. Or start making like a living dex or something? I have a lot of Pokemon shiny already. Actually, I should check the shinies we've got today. See if any one of them is marked. I work specifically mainly in VR architecture. Okay, there's a lot. VR, there's a lot to unpack when it comes to these Pokemon are not all shiny. You are not shine. You must leave that box. That's the thing now? Yes. I think it has been for a couple of years now, actually. Correct me if I'm wrong. You are the professional here, but I feel like VR architecture has been something that's been going for a couple of years now. About 70% of companies. Okay, so these are the 4 shinies that we encountered today. Let's see if any of them are marked. Nope. This one is! Sleepy time! Oh. Okay, that's kind of cute. This one isn't, and Bombardier isn't as well. Okay, very, very cool. I should try to put the blob next to the other blob. Where's the other blob? Have the other blob over here. Well, I mean, I could definitely swap out Tatsugiri with this one. Organizing boxes. Sleepy nice. So this is the Tatsugiri that I already found shiny. This was fully by accident. Pretty sure this one was full odds as well. We just ran into it. So I need the other 2 Tatsugiri, which I believe one of them shiny is white and the other shiny is yellow. And there is a yellow Tatsugiri as well, so that's gonna be interesting to figure out. So I do have that shiny hunt that we need to do, and I also have the Earthworm shiny hunt to do. So those are the last 2 that I have on my list. And then I either need to make a new list, or just, I don't know, start going by Pokedex order? And just, I don't know, try to do the whole shiny dex? What do you guys think? I don't know. I have to think about that. Because, like, how fast can we shiny hunt and also get Herba Mystica to get it done before the DLCs come out? I must think about this. I feel 2 shiny white Tatsus because originally I thought those were normal colors. Oh, that's sad. That's sad. I have not, for as far as I'm aware, I've not failed a single shiny. Which is kind of amazing, honestly, considering who I am. Also, this box is still not called shiny. We need to rename this. Shiny with 3 exclamation marks, because this is box number 3. Adorable, I know. I've filled 5 so far. I don't think I've filled any of them. And like, from here to... I mean, these are kind of already kind of mixed, but I do have like 10 shinies that I got full odds before getting the shiny charm. So that was a wild ride. I also got shinies that I got after the sandwich ended. I don't know if those count as full odds or not, but there's some odds. But yeah. There's clips of everything on Twitch, and also still working on uploading clips to YouTube as well. Glibbit self-destruct, Voltorbs yeeted. So wait. Glibbit self-destructs? Holy crap, I got lucky as hell. Wait, are you serious right now? Because, like, Glimmit and Glimora took so many attempts for me to catch. I didn't know they could self-destruct. And just the fact that they didn't self-destruct feels like a miracle right now. And, yeah, Voltorb, I found one, I screamed, and then I tried to figure out how to just not have it die because I didn't have a Pokemon with damp. Actually, I did fail one shiny, but it's a failed shiny because I was looking for... I'm going to put you guys on full screen because I'm going to end stream anyways. So let me put you guys on full screen. Pick me. So I was hunting for a shiny female and male Litleo. And the male ones are a lot more difficult to find than the female ones because of the, like, gender rates. And I think I found like 10 female shiny Litleo, but one of them I accidentally I knocked it out. I knocked it out. I wasn't supposed to knock it out, but I did. So I have 9 female shiny Litleos instead of 10. But it doesn't really count for the counter because the counter only counts 1 of each. So, I don't know. Should have posted the Hatchmon when all raiders came in. It's okay, dude. It's okay. It's okay. I've actually been talking to my dad trying to get him to, like, do stuff, but he's, like, super, super busy right now with, like, real-life implication work kind of stuff. And it's just gonna be 10 times more difficult to just get him focused on the game to, like, finish things up. But yeah, people still have 11. People still have 11 routes that they can play. Which, if you're not called Savage or Nitty, is plenty to work with. It's plenty to play with. It'll be a few months. It'll be a few months if you want to get through like 11 entire routes, okay? It's plenty to play with already. But yeah, no. I'm excited for it. It's just we had to slow down the development of it because I kind of need my dad to do the coding thing, because I can't do the coding thing, because I did web design, not web development, so I suck at PHP and JavaScript. So yeah. No, where are you going? Arcane, it is time. It is time for me to go. I must leave you now. Liking the new hair? Oh, I straightened it. This is the hair for the week. Next week we'll be back to curly. But yeah. Now I had to clean out my entire like pantry because of bugs. And the bugs are okay. No, I'm not gonna rage right now. Let's not rage right now. Because the bugs are still there. I am still high on bleach and vinegar fumes. I think the webcam works better with the straight hair. How do you... I don't understand what you mean by that, Savage. It was nice chilling. I'll be heading to bed. School, thank you for sticking around. Thank you for joining the raid and actually sticking around. Hope you enjoyed it today. And I'll be back on Wednesday. I'll be back on Wednesday again. So you followed. You'll get a notification, I think. That's how this works. Sounds like you need to fog them out. Chemical warfare. Yeah, the thing is, I'm trying to do things as little as possible, but as much as possible, so that I don't, like, intoxicate my cats as well. And myself and Bruno. Smooth hair works better for the camera. I mean, it is kind of shiny, isn't it? I'm so shiny. Look at my hair in the wind, it's so shiny. So shiny, so shiny, I'm so shiny. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna go. And I need to go sleep. I also got some other things I need to do before I need to go sleep. But mainly I need to go sleep. So with that said, guys, I will be back on Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. my time, which is 9:30 for most of Europe. Should be 12:30 PST and 6:30 a.m. Australia City time. Got your time zones covered? Y'all figure the rest out from there. I did my part. Okay? So with that said, everyone, thank you all so much for joining. I will be back on Wednesday, and yeah, I'll see you guys then. And I will be making a post about not streaming next Monday so I can hang out with my grandma who's finally coming from Brazil. So that will be on the place that doesn't exist, the Estate of Confusion Discord. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Who joined Discord? I don't know. Who joined Discord? Unlucky Tonberry just slid into the server. Hi. Hello. Who is unlucky? Name does not compute. No, the name does not compute indeed. But that is okay. We can see what happens. We can see what happens. Okay, I'm gonna end it here, guys. Thanks so much for being here. I'll see you guys in the next one. And if you got this far on YouTube somehow, hi. I'm confused, but that's fine. Anyways, I'll be back on Wednesday. Have a good night. Subscribe. I said it. Oh, dude, I don't have that kind of retention rate. People get like 2 minutes in and they're quit. Like, I've seen my analytics. It ain't working that way. I'm not even bothered. Anyways, have a good one, guys. Bye. See you next time.